What really sparked the idea for this whole tape, the whole Heath Ledger shit, like Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies like ever. Like I watch that shit, like I watch Martin to the point, I watch so much, they'll come in the house like, boy, turn this shit off, you feel me? Type shit, you been watching this shit for a week. I look at like how the Joker, I'm a big Joker fan too, so I always looked at how he was just like, he was basically like a slime ball, you know what I'm saying? But he lived, to me, he was free-minded. He did what he wanted to do. It wasn't nobody, like he didn't go off of, he didn't let nobody control him or what he wanted to do. He thought and did what he wanted to do, and he just lived how he wanted to live. So I feel like that's a big, that's the main inspiration behind the tape, you know what I'm saying? Then Why So Serious, actually what I'm saying is like, at the end of the day, like you ain't gotta take, I ain't just saying just walk around this bitch, like no worries, because everybody got shit they going through, but I feel like as far as Why So Serious, what I'm really saying is shit like enjoy life, have fun with whatever you doing, you know what I'm saying? Don't be so hard on yourself about certain shit. And I just had to like, just with this project and everything, I had to like realize that with myself and tell myself that, because I'm hard on myself about a lot of shit, just with like issues with my pride and all that shit. So it's really just about shit like doing what you want to do, having fun with it. In the Dark Knight movie, Heath Ledger actually said like, when he burnt all the money, he was just like, man, it's not about the money, you know what I'm saying? It's really about sending the message. And he felt like my message is everything burn. My message with this project is have fun, do what you want. And another thing is like, as far as another message I'm trying to send throughout the whole tape is, I'm gonna be around with this rap shit for like 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are just phases and one-hit wonders and all that shit. Like I know 5 years from now, I'm only 22, so 5 years from now when I'm 27, I'm gonna have another 5 years of my career in it. Like I'm guaranteed that, like just the way my mind's set up, the way I really want this shit, I'm gonna always be hungry. You feel me? Just from what I come from. Like shit, some of my favorite songs on it. The whole tape is really hard to me, cause I wouldn't have put it out or just I wouldn't have put no like mediocre ass song on it. I'm like, that's decent, it could just go on there. Like hell no. But some of my favorite tracks on there is Pull Up with my homie Levi Carter, Rotation. And it was crazy because Rotation was supposed to come out in 2017, but it ended up getting switched out and all that shit. That's the last song on there with Wiz. I had a different song with Wiz that was supposed to be on there, but when I talked to Wiz about it, he's just like, maybe this shit was supposed to happen like that. Maybe it was supposed to come out early. So I'm just like, fuck it. I roll with the punches, because only thing else I could do as far as the song was take it off and just not have Wiz on my project. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted him to be a part of this because that was already how I envisioned it and shit like that. Them probably my favorite two songs, Pull Up and Rotation. And then I got the intro. I love the intro too. Like I've been holding on to that for like a little hot second and shit like that. But so yeah, back on it, Pull Up and Rotation. I feel like going into this project, I was just a little more free-minded with shit, you know what I'm saying? Like with North Pole, like my first time really having a tape that was gonna have some actual push behind it. Like I did different mixtapes just in the streets of Chicago with DJ V-Dub and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And just on my own, passing a whole bunch of CDs out. This was my first like real mixtape that actually was everywhere on the internet and all that shit. So like my approach with this for real, like where really with them other projects, I was just trying to show people I could really rap my ass off and I know how to make good songs. And with every project, I'm trying to do that. But in the same token, I'm really thinking like, just really trying to have fun with it, but also tell my story to the point. I don't want to have a whole tape where you feel like I'm just talking about clothes, I'm talking about partying and all that shit. Like, I want to always be able to talk about my life experiences. So like Trust No More, that's a song where I really like basically got my feelings or whatever and was really like speaking a whole bunch of shit that be on my mind like every day or some shit that I was really going through at the time. So yeah, like with every track, I just try to really just feed off of the real shit that's going on around me or in my life, and then I just try to keep all my music like relatable, because everybody not rich, everybody don't have a Benz, everybody not can't, like this jacket $600 or whatever, but everybody can't buy that shit. So if you keep rapping about shit like that, they ain't gonna be able to relate. So I want to keep my music relatable, you know what I'm saying, so for every crowd and for all different kind of genres and all that shit. So that's really how I just been thinking on this project. Like my last two projects, I was like, even with Fast Money and Freedom, another thing with Fast Money and Freedom was I ain't want nobody to think he's yet and I'm gonna drop even more and more mixtapes like without Wiz or without nobody on it. But that's why I got that out of my system too, because if I you know how people just, if you say if I had Wiz on every tape thus far, they'll just be like, yeah, he can't drop a tape without Wiz on it. Oh yeah, I only listen to the tape for Wiz and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna continue to give them a chance to even say shit like that, because I could definitely, I can hold my own with this shit. And I feel like the Let Taylor Gang, Wiz or Will, when none of them wouldn't have looked at me or even wanted to keep me around if it was like I needed other people, if I couldn't hold my own basically with this music shit and just make good music on my own. With this, I was just more free-minded. I was just still trying to have fun. I got a daughter on the way or whatever, so all that shit is just motivation. My career, everything, I gotta live for her, and like, she gotta benefit off of all of this shit. Whenever she get older, she could be like, my dad, cool as fuck, he was doing this, he was doing that. Like, I got one of the best dads in the motherfucking world. So that's how I want her to look at it. So all of that shit was on my mind while I was making it. And then on top of just me knowing I have to show and prove with every project and show motherfuckers like I'm getting better with melodies, different flow cadences and all that, just switching up my flow at different times and making catchy music, making conscious music where you really have to listen to what I'm saying. Like, even sometimes my trap music, doing the verses, even if the beat hella trapped out, doing the verses, like, I'm always talking about real shit. So I don't make up shit about shootouts. I don't make up shit about robbing people. Like, all of that shit is really what I've done, what I'm going through, like, and what's going on around me. You know what I'm saying? So that's really like my whole creative like thought when I was doing this tape and shit like that. And it's probably gonna be like that forever, just so I could keep it real. We did rotation on the tour. I hopped on the tour after the Chicago show and all that. It went to like Albuquerque and got on the tour and all that, and I performed the rest of the tour. So like the shit with rotation, we ended up having like an off day in Cali or whatever. So once the tour got back to Cali and once we really got close to LA, we was just fucking around in LA. I was cooling with like Cardi and shit. That's like my brother or whatever. I was cooling with Cardi, but we ended up going to Bel Air to one of Wiz spots and shit like that. I just did I came up with the hook or whatever, and it was originally supposed to be me, him, and Cardi on there or whatever, but I came up with the hook and I just ran it by him. Like, that's one thing Wiz is big on, and I feel like I'm big on hooks too, and I want to just be able to keep on making catchy music or hooks that you really like, that you would feel like you would know after listening to them a few times and shit like that. So I ran the hook by Wiz, I did it, and he was just like, yeah, that's hard as hell. I did my verse. And I think that night, him and DJ Motor, we had to go to some club and they was DJing and shit. So after I did the hook, I did my verse. We got up out of there. We went to the club and all that shit. Next day, we had to wake up and go to like San Diego or some shit like that. He told me fuck with it and all that shit then. And you know, it's weird, so ain't no telling. He might do the motherfucking verse a month from now. He might do it tomorrow. So we end up getting to, matter of fact, I think we went to the Bay, then San Diego. One of vice versa, one of them. So when we got there, you know, Ricky P set up the studio in every different state. Like everywhere we go, we set up the studio. We try to work no matter where we at type shit. Like, I was just walking around that bitch, just doing whatever, listening to music, whatever. I came down to the studio and shit, like Ricky was like, yeah, Wiz just got done with that verse and shit like that. So once I heard it, I was just like, this nigga, he went crazy. I feel like it was like, I'm like, damn, this could be my first like real big radio hit and all that shit, you feel me? So that was just like, it was just dope, cause bro, like, one thing about Wiz, like, he just, when he hear shit, he get right on it. You know what I'm saying? When he hear with how much potential the track has, you know what I'm saying? He'll tell me what to change, whatever. But it wasn't none of that. He was like, nah, I fuck with that. Next day, he did the verse. Like, he didn't even tell me. He just went in that bitch, did it. I came back downstairs before my show. He like, yeah, Wiz did the verse. I heard it. I was geeked as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this bitch a smash or whatever. Then he asked me later on, like, you fuck with that shit? I'm like, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that shit was dope. And when me and Sosa did The Boat, we did that shit in LA. We was out in like LA for like a week and a half, just like literally locked in the studio. It wasn't like no going out or none of that shit. Like, we was specifically in LA for recording, you know what I'm saying? And we had a whole bunch of sessions that ended at like 5 in the morning and shit. So, and then we was in the hills. You know, I'm from Chicago. I'm from North Chicago, Waukegan and all that shit, but it ain't like no normal suburbs. It ain't a whole bunch of white people picking fences and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? niggas and amigos. Like, them is my people, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I come from. So I'm looking at that shit like, when I get to the hills and all that shit, I'm looking at all this shit like, this shit really inspiration. When I go to LA, look at the Hollywood stars and all that shit, like, that shit I see on movies. So whenever I go to LA, I'm hella inspired and shit. So all of that shit really be memorable to me, cause shit, like, I come from nothing. I come from the projects and all that shit. So we just be, all that shit just is what really helps and motivate me to make certain different kind of music and shit like that. So yeah.
Man, we dropped that motherfucker now, man. The first time, you know, didn't nobody even know the record, but you could just hear people chanting, like you just hear trying to say it. When I was just hearing it, when I hear them saying, trying to say it, it's automatically let us know, like, well, we got something.
Oh, you gotta do it out here, it's legal, da-da-da, tried it. I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing out on. This is why at every single session, we can't start until the producer or the songwriter or the artist got weed. I never understood it, but it's never made any more sense than it does now that I understand.
I don't fuck with Bone Thugs. I used to listen to them growing up. I'm saying, I ain't bumping to them yet. So them the main ones I want to work with. Bone Thugs. Everybody else reachable.
So while they was in the back, another girl jumped in the front, you know what I'm saying?
Try to drive off?
Yeah, up the driver's seat. Like, yo, like, I'm looking at her, but I'm attacked already. So I'm looking at her.
She looking back.
She looking back like,
ready?
Like, we about to drive off with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? She looking back like this. I'm like, yo.